Good afternoon. I want to thank everybody who joins us. My name is Olha, and it's my pleasure to welcome you at Ukraine Media Center today. So our following activity will be dedicated to putting Russian Federation on the United Nations shame list and centering victims' voices in Ukraine. So today, in the eve of the CRSV Day, that is commemorated on the 19th of June, we will discuss the crimes committed by the Russians and the transformations of those who experienced those crimes and themselves. So there will be the stories of the people who survived those crimes, those who become the actors of changes, who start advocating justice in international arena. So let me introduce our speakers. Joining us a little bit later will be Kateryna Levchenko, Government Commissioner for Gender Policy. Joining us in the studio are Mykhailo, Kameniev, Senior Project Specialist of the Kyiv Office of the Register of Damages for Ukraine, and also we have representatives of 4 powerful non-government organizations, those who unite those who were affected by illegal detention and other crimes committed by Russians, Russian army, in our relation. So joining us in the studio are Olha, Cherniak, representative of SEMA Ukraine NGO. Also joining us is Oleksii, Sivak, head of Alumni Network NGO, Liudmyla Huseinova, head of Numo NGO, and Andrii Kochmuradov, head of the December 29th NGO. So thank you for joining us. Despite the difficult night that we've survived, so let's discuss these important topics, and right away I would like to give the floor to Ms. Olha, and obviously I would like to ask you about such transformations. How are they happening? Good afternoon, thank you for having me. So today I act not only as a woman who survived the sexual violence, but I'm a woman who is talking, and sometimes for the women it's difficult to tell this story. I survived sexual violence. I became a part of the civil organization called SEMA Ukraine, and for me the International Day of Countering the Conflict-Related Sexual Violence has a profound personal meaning. I joined SEMA Ukraine in 2023, and this is exactly when I started recovering. I'm a woman who spent 10 months in captivity. For 10 months I was experienced raping, violence, humiliation. I am a woman who heard my son being tortured. I am a woman who heard my husband being tortured. I'm a prisoner who was brought to the left bank of Kherson region when the Russians were leaving the right bank. I was afraid to be brought to Russian Federation. I was afraid I would be convicted there, and there will be an illegal ruling. I didn't believe I would survive. I didn't believe I would come back home to independent, free Ukraine. Today I am a woman who talks. It's really difficult, to tell this story that happened to me, the story that happened to my family. And we want to tell the society that we are not victims, we are the survivors, we are the women who the strong women. To tell about the crimes that are being committed in Ukraine, in our land. And we support each other, we stand by each other's side. And it's important for our society to understand that sexual violence is exactly the weapon that is used by the aggressors, that this is the way they try to humiliate us. They want to destroy us and to eradicate us as the nation of Ukrainians. They think that it's like they don't give us a right to exist, but that's not true. We are strong and we're fighting to have them all held accountable. And during these 2 years, I had an opportunity to take part at the state level and international level. I was telling my story. I was visiting European Parliament in Brussels, and when I tell about my pain, about what's going on in Ukraine, about what the Russian aggressors do to the people in Ukraine, it doesn't only pierce as a pain, but those are also the stories that cure. They change the opinions of the people who listen to these stories, the people who hear us. SEMA Ukraine is dealing with advocacy at international and national level. At the national level, we work with the law enforcement, with the government agencies. We take part in working groups. At the international level, we document the crimes. We tell about the crimes that are being committed in Ukraine by the aggressor. We're saying that it's a crime that is supposed to be stopped to avoid any of those killings in future, to prevent those rapes and humiliation in future. So it's important for the global public to know about what's going on in Ukraine, and for the time being, our member of SEMA Ukraine, Olisa Kovalenko, will be taking part in URC 2025 that is going to happen in Rome. It's an international conference that will be focused not only on economics but also on the society and recovery of our land, the land of Ukraine after the war. And this is what touches upon 4 principal matters: the matter of economy, the matter of society, the matter of development. And for us, it's important that Olisa Kovalenko will represent us because she's the member of the board of SEMA Ukraine. She is a survivor herself. She's a survivor of CRSV. She's a documentalist. She's a director. She's the voice of a woman who survived sexual violence. She is making she's making documentaries in which she tells about the crimes that are being committed in Ukraine. She communicates what's going on in Ukraine to the world. So for us, it's really important to see that we have support. For us, it's important that we are exactly the voices of the people who survived this horrible, I don't even know how to call it, and we are still strong. We're standing together, and we will be able to rebuild Ukraine and to punish the perpetrators. Ms. Olha, I cannot help but asking, do you support and do you feel any support on part of the government? I mean, when it comes to initiatives and generally. Well, personally, honestly, when it comes to the state support, I didn't feel anything of that kind. The only thing that goes well is cooperation with our law enforcement who heard us. I mean Kherson and Mykolaiv regions. They work according to the Murad code. They work under the Murad code. They collect evidences, and it's a big plus. They comply with the standards of tolerance. They use the correct approach. They know how to talk to people. They know how to treat the people. They know in which premises the evidences may be collected. That's the first step, and I think it's really important. Thank you, Ms. Liudmyla. Let's continue the topic of implementation of initiatives that are suggested by the survivors. I mean, given the experience of your organization, our organization was founded on the 6th of December 2024, but de facto, I have been a member of SEMA. I used to be a member of SEMA after the liberation. So why this necessity? We draw a lot of attention to the women who are being held in captivity, those who are staying under occupation. It's our pain. And your previous question was about the state support. Well, you know, in my opinion, the state engages us. We work in cooperation with the state because we are free. We may choose what can we work on, whether we should work with the law enforcement or we should work on legislation, which we do as well. And the legislation that was signed by the president is supposed to come into force today. We were also taking part in its drafting. We were working on it for 2 years, and we would like to see it in effect so that it's not only written on paper. But again, we will dedicate our time and attention to it. So the people who are left there, they don't have support, they don't have attention, they on part of our state, and it's a pity. It shouldn't be happening. We'll draw attention to this matter, and using any opportunity, we will remind everybody the war has been going on since 2014, and since 2014, there are Ukrainian citizens staying in temporarily occupied territories, and the state of Ukraine has obligations before those citizens to ensure their freedom, to ensure their rights, to cover the social necessities, to be provided the social support, social aid. Well, how to do it? Well, it's a difficult question for our state because it's been almost 11 years and there is still no answer to this question. However, we will continue working and we'll try to figure out what to do. In my opinion, this is exactly why the civil organizations are being established now, not to wait what the state can do for us, but rather to do in cooperation with the state what the survivors need, survivors of different categories. I'm not only talking about the CRSV survivors or those who survived the imprisonment. We realize that such categories during the bloody, horrific war are abundant. And every category of such men and women and children, young and adult, they all need support, they all need attention, they all need help. Definitely, we wouldn't like the attention of the world from these horrific things happening in Ukraine to be diverted to other problems. However, those problems are important too. We understand, we realize that without the support of the world, we wouldn't be able to make it. Those who stay in temporary occupation wouldn't be able to make it. The state wouldn't be able to make it. And all of our international advocacy activities, both by our organization and SEMA, Ukraine, all has given a very good example when a member of SEMA will avail herself of that opportunity, and I'm confident Alyssa will be able to make a statement about our needs to demonstrate the world how badly our country is bleeding, how badly we need the attention and the help from the world. I know that the men's organizations also do a lot, and every interview that is being given is the advocacy work, and every interview given by a person who is a survivor of imprisonment, survivor of serious fee, is a bleeding wound, because we need to relive it, re-experience it again and again. It's difficult, and everybody can corroborate it, but we still do it because it's our advocacy. And I really want that example that I'm about to give is efficient, so we could communicate it to the world about the terrible war crimes that Russia is committing in temporarily occupied territories. I'm talking about the appeal of 4 organizations: SEMA Ukraine, December 29th, Numo Alumni. We're united in order to appeal to Secretary Guterres to put Russia on the so-called shame list. We hope that in a couple of months there should be a report in the United Nations, and we really hope that Guterres is going to do it. We know that he has already received our letter. We appreciate the support of this initiative by everybody who undersigned this letter, those who support our initiative, the representatives of the government agencies, of the civil organizations, of the civil society. We advocate and we're asking for such support not only in Ukraine but all around the world. And any journey abroad or any meeting here in Ukraine, during any such meeting we talk about this letter, we ask for this support. So how to do it? It's easy. You go to the SEMA Ukraine website and you will see a step-by-step instruction on how you can support the appeal of 4 organizations to Mr. Guterres to put Russian Federation on the shame list. What is it going to yield us? It's not going to give us money, neither to us nor to our country, nor to other survivors, but it will give us even more than money. It will give us dignity. It's going to not break our trust in justice, because a country that is being put on the shame list will not be allowed to take part in any peacekeeping operations. Can we afford that during such advocacy journeys all around the world, I mean mine or Ola's or Angelina's or Alyssa's, whoever, or the men's, can we afford it seeing those who were torturing us, those who were raping us? We want those Russian military, those who were working for Russian Federation, to be deprived of such an option forever. It's about our security. And we understand that such activities ensure security not only for those in this room, but also for those whom we can't wait to see back from captivity. It's about the security of the world, because such confidence that the executioners will be punished will empower other survivors who are afraid to talk due to some reasons. It will give them strength so they could talk. And now, availing myself of this opportunity, I would like to say that yes, you've mentioned that on the 19th of June, there will be a global day of prevention of CRSV, and on this day, our organization, Numo has initiated a meeting to support those women who are currently being held captive as a prisoners of war. We know that 80% of men and women who are staying in captivity are surviving sexual violence. Almost 100% are experiencing horrible tortures. We want to draw your attention to those women. We want Ukraine and the world to see their faces. We want to ask the president of Ukraine to take his best efforts to make sure those women are set free so they could be staying by the side of their loved ones, their families, their children. Thank you, Ms. Liudmyla. So basically, anybody can undersign and support this international advocacy campaign. Once again, let me remind you, SEMA website, sign this letter of appeal. Let's support it all together. Thank you. Mr. Mykhailo, a question to you. We understand that one of the key tools when it comes to the protection of survivors is the register of losses of Ukraine. I would like to ask you more about this register. First of all, the way it works, what are the categories of citizens that may sign up to this register? Well, first of all, I would like to express my respect and gratitude to everybody standing at this stage with us for your bravery to tell your stories, to advocate the interests of other survivors, and to promote the creation of opportunities for the state, for the international organizations, civil organizations. It's really an important job you're doing when the survivors are uniting in organizations to fight for your interests. And it brings me to the topic of the Register of Losses of Ukraine, because one of the principles based on which we work is the survivor-oriented approach. So basically, our procedures are aimed at taking into account the best interest of the survivors to traumatize them in the minimum extent. What do I mean by traumatize them to the minimum extent? Because any application a person is making to the register where they describe their story is at least a minimal, but it's still a traumatization. So we're trying to bring it to the minimum extent possible. International tool that is the Register of Losses is a compensation mechanism that is built on the platform of the resolution of the United Nations General Assembly that recognized the armed aggression of Russian Federation starting from the 24th of February 2022, and on the foundation of this resolution there was additional resolution to expand the Register of Losses within Europe. So this register is a register as a database, and it also acts as an international organization, and it's only the first part of the three-component compensation mechanism, and this part is already in operation, and it's a unique experience when all those processes are developing during an active phase of war. So when the registration of losses is already happening during the war, another two parts of the compensation mechanisms is the compensation committee and compensation foundation. The function of the register is to accept applications from the survivors, to verify their eligibility. So there are eligibility criteria. It should be an eligible person who submits an application. For example, you can either be a legal representative or a direct survivor, and other three key criteria. So the time criteria, the event of the occurrence should be happening on the 24th of February or later. Then the territorial aspect, the internationally recognized territory of Ukraine. At the same time, if the losses inflicted due to violation in the territory of Ukraine were extended outside the territory of Ukraine, it also falls under our mandate. What do I mean by that? That if a person ended up in captivity, say in the territory of Ukraine, and was brought to Russian Federation and was tortured, illegally deprived of freedom, or exercise sexual violence against or forced labor, it will all fall under the mandate of our register to accept such an application or report. Then, when the report is added to the register, the compensation committee will be established, and the committee will consider the report and decide on the amount of reimbursement to be paid. And then there is a compensation fund that will make payments according to the resolutions of compensation committee. There are 43 categories of harm that can be inflicted in the register. There are 3 categories of the survivors: the physical entities, the individuals, the government, communal enterprise, and third category are the businesses. Now there are 10 categories launched that are covering the individuals. We're not taking reports from the governments and from the businesses. For us, the most important is the harm inflicted on the individuals, and those 10 categories include forced internal displacement, the destruction of residential and non-residential property, and other categories that are related to the loss of health or life, the loss of a family member, that when people are going missing, conflict-related sexual violence, torture, illegal imprisonment, and forced labor or military service. So those are the categories based on which we accept reports and applications. The register within these categories that are related to personal freedoms and life and health he has been receiving reports for 3 months, for the last 3 months. So this survivor-oriented approach, we're not having legal proceeding. We have lower standards of proof, unlike during the court procedures, but rather that it looks like a procedure of the public complaint. We are not trying to prove it beyond the reasonable doubt. So we have another proof standard. The information should look convincing. Like a third person who looks at it and who reads it shouldn't have doubt that this information is true. I'm describing the standard in simple words. It looks more complicated in legal language, so we don't require any specific forms of documents. We don't require the materials of forensic examination. We don't require any state procedures. We don't require the people to be registered as the victims in some criminal proceedings. Obviously, such information may serve as an additional information for in decision-making process. It will help decision-making and it will add more reasonability to the report. But at the same time, it doesn't mean that if those documents are absent, that we would reject the report, that the register wouldn't accept it. The register was established by 43 countries plus European Union. Ukraine is also among those 43, and we really hope that we have quite optimistic plans by the end of the year to launch more additional categories. We are going to launch the additional categories shortly. We don't know when are they going to be open. The compensation committee, for example, now at the official level, there are negotiations taking place which involve the official state representatives who express their desire to be involved in this mechanism, and according to the to our forecast, the entity will be established. There is an agreement that requires certification, and soon it will be open for signing. So as the international compensation mechanisms are being established, the Ukrainian register of losses is quite a quick story, compared to other cases. Some may say that the register started to operate in 2 years after the beginning of the full-fledged Russian armed aggression. Some might have expected it to be created earlier, but given the framework that the international humanitarian law operates in, it's a really, really quick result. When it comes to the survivors, we don't force anybody. We expect the survivors to submit their applications or the reports, and we expect the awareness to be raised about the register in order not to create some unreasonable expectations from the register. It doesn't necessarily mean that after the report is submitted, the compensation is paid within 3 months or 1 month. I mean, it's all about the story to happen eventually. Any justice is something that takes time, even during a regular court procedure. You know, for a regular court case in Ukraine, I mean, half a year, even a year, 3 years is a very short period, and I'm open to all of the questions that you may ask. Okay, the people who are the survivors, how can they use this opportunity, this option, this algorithm, where to submit the report, where to call, where to write? Well, currently the only tool that accepts the reports is the DIA portal, not the DIA application on your phone, but DIA portal. You can visit it using your phone. It's just more convenient using your computer. There are applications for different categories. There is a lot of explanation on how to fill and we have frequently asked questions that we keep on the website of the register. We have the rules for submission of reports, and any person may come to a DIA portal and submit their applications. Generally, we're saying that in order to submit the application, it takes maybe 20-30 minutes, but only given that all of the fabula will be corrected, all of the data available. So if you want to write a report and you don't have any ready facts, it's going to take more time. But generally, the procedure is not difficult. In future, to make this submission process available for everybody, because we understand that not all of the citizens are able to use internet or DIA portal due to some reasons. Some may just not want it, and to do it, we will launch the submission of applications through the administrative services centers. More than 1,500 of them are operating all across Ukraine. So how it's going to be different? People will need to visit the administrative services center to bring the documents, to write down the fabula of what happened, the violation, and then through the portal, the state registrar who stays in the administrative services center will submit the application. So it's going to work as the application or the portal itself. Then when we implement the representation, the attorneys will be able to submit the data through the portal. It's just going to be another person submitting that information for someone else. The information is being stored in European Union, in The Hague, in other countries, so the information is absolutely secure. It's being processed according to the Ukrainian legislation on protection of personal data and in compliance with the European legislation on protection of personal data. Is there any feedback contemplated with the victims, with the survivors? Are the people going to be aware of any response when it comes to their reports? Well, in case of technical problems in submission of the report, for example, the file may be not uploaded due to some reasons, for such cases there is a hotline, DIA hotline established, and it reacts quite actively. They solve technical issues. When there are any other questions, say, of legal nature, what are the, for example, the evidences that should be collected when it comes to some property that is staying in temporarily occupied territories? DIA hotline is not going to help with that, and the register also doesn't provide any consultations when it comes to individual cases. The headquarters of the register is based in The Hague. We have the Kyiv office, and our task is to spread the information, to spread the word about the register. But we are not going to provide advice on individual cases because it's going to create the conflict of interest. So let's imagine we do such consultation, and then the Council of Register takes an opposite opinion. Then there will be a question: what is the logic of our work? Why are we giving different advices about. At the same time, we cooperate with the civil organizations with the free legal aid. We have a trilateral memorandum entered into between civil organizations and the Ministry of Justice, and we expect that the civil organizations are going to be that bridge, the bridge that helps to spread the information and consult the people on submitting their reports. So basically, we communicate the freshest information about our work to the organizations. We hold the webinars. We hope that shortly we are going to have webinars because we have requests from the survivors organizations. And in this format, we will be doing our job. We work with those who work directly with the survivors, with the customers, and through them we communicate this information because the personnel of the register is not so numerous. Mr. Andrii, I would like to ask you, what is the assessment of the operation of the register by the survivors? How efficient is this tool?
We think that this is actually a very actual instrument, a very actual tool. As the colleague said, it was really surprising how fast it was implemented. However, there is always buts, what I mean. As Mr. Mykhailo said, this register has a certain mandate, and it works within the frame of this mandate. And it is allowed to receive submissions, requests from the victims only starting the 2022 February. Yes, it is not before, it is actually after the 24th of the February 2022. So what about those that happened before? What about those victims? Well, they cannot get into the register even from the technical point of view. Even if you start entering some kind of data, you cannot do this. And we think there is a lot of examples when it was an artificial segregation by different signs and so on and so on, like this could be age or gender or so this is kind of the discrimination because by the time parameter, and this is kind of ridiculous, and so. It is ridiculous to think if the register is thinking if you are a victim or not. So this register, among others, is receiving the submissions from the victims of VPO. There is a term, VPO.
IDP.
And IDP term, and they have the right to submit requests to this register as opposed to the victims before the 2022. So we are kind of in doubt. Is it just? It's not just for this. Should not be like this. So what can be done? We need to change the mandate. And it is only possible when the initiative is coming from the not only from the Council of the Register, but also from the European Council. And also from the people that are overseeing the work, the operation of this. And this is hard, and this is difficult, especially for the organizations like ours that were created not so long ago and don't have, so to speak, a powerful legal resource, and it's really hard to do anything without the lawyers, so A few weeks ago, we had a meeting with Mr. Levchenko, which discussed how this situation actually could be changed. So we decided, among other things, to concentrate on the legal analysis to find out which laws are being violated or are in conflict with this register that is discriminating a certain category of the victims. I also would like to note that not only for us this is a challenge, or for the victims, but also but this is also about the system as a whole. If it's capable to hear us, if it's capable to change, and this is important. Because, you know, this is a more in-depth moment of seeing how dictatorships are working, how democratic societies are working, with which we are getting acquainted right now, you know, and this is our first and foremost task, to see that this works as it is supposed to work from within the democratic society, you know, and that it is covering and supporting those people that are the target of this effort. Because sometimes, you know, you have this feeling that you're a small insect who is crawling near the pyramid of Cheops, Egyptian pyramid, and you look up, and it's like something big, you know, that is that darkens the sunlight, like some big organization like European Council. It's too big from the point of view of a single person, and but we hope that we will have results. For example, in the there is steps that we can do right now. This is, for example, a mechanism, a state mechanism that compensates the victims that have their property damaged. But it is only taking care of those who had those damages done to them only after 2022. Yeah, and I can say that I know about this fact. And yes, you are right. It is only about the habitation, the damage to the property that was used for dwelling. You know, but there is so many categories that are not covered in the register, like those categories that were mentioned by the previous speaker. We don't have this on the national level. There is also these mechanisms are in place on an international level, but they do not cover all the categories. Other speakers were talking about thousands of people that were found themselves in captivity after 2014, before 2022. So it was 9 years that are uncovered. And to imagine the scale of this tragedy, there was only one person among men. There were more women, but there was only one man. We have this organization, you know, like female victims, male victims. Our organizations is more like equally paying attention both to women and men. And I have to say that only one man was liberated from the captivity. He was the only one who was liberated from the captivity and was taken to captivity before 2022. 22. So as you can see, this is a huge discrimination and injustice. Mr. Dmitry, so your organization is also taking part, the Alumni NGO is also taking part in this initiative that we're discussing today. Yes, we have this coalition, so to speak. So we hear voices today of those who survived, and today, preliminarily, before the day in the UN Day of the sexually related violence during conflict. We are here to become the engines of the change that needs to happen, because this is our vital voice of the society, of the victims towards the society, towards government, so that they are capable of hearing us. And I'm very thankful that we are able today to speak about this. And this is also our main target, that we could freely speak about it. The members of our organizations are convinced. We witness with our own eyes what horrible violence is happening on our territory during this war, among our targets, among our goals, is also a truthful reflection of the stories, of the events that happened during this war, and also we are paying attention not only to the commanders of those victims, or chiefs, or higher-ups. We are listening to those people who are victims themselves, and the processes that we are taking part in is also creation of a global and enhancement of the global system of support of the victims of crimes, of the war crimes. People are suffering since 2014, not only since 2022, and all this, if it goes unpunished, it will lead to more suffering, the ones that we had witnessed during the whole period of aggression. The main thing. Our fight is national, is on the national level, and when we have it on the national level, we do receive support, we do receive attention, and that's how it helps to change the course of the history. And we do hope that our voices will be reinforced by the actions. For example, if we're talking about the register, the center of the decision making should be probably decided among the countries that are members of this register. And we already discussed this, and we are planning for a strategic session of planning this kind of advocation. And this can only happen only with the support from the from the government side. And for example, Ms. Kateryna helped a lot with property damage registration, and many other questions. And there is a lot of other issues that has been decided, resolved. If we return to the discrimination for those from the previous period, thank you. Thank you for your input. Yes, I would like to also add that many people are still silent and they are afraid to talk about what happened to them in those territories that were temporarily occupied, and there still are a lot of territories that are still occupied, and we are doing trips in those to those places. We are telling them we're providing the information. We're telling them that they have the right to talk. They are able to. They will be heard if they talk. And I should say that this is something that is already happening, and this helps immensely while advocating for the interests of Ukraine during this war in the international arena. Mr. Mykhailo, what do you think about this initiative? Because it does look kind of illogical a little bit that we had so many victims of sexual violence, that had their property damaged, who were imprisoned because of political reasons. So what do you think about this kind of advocacy? Well, I cannot talk about my private attitude because I represent this register here, and the nuance of this organization, of this international organization, is created based on the General Assembly resolution that was supported by more than 90 countries, and it is a basis for its activity. And so, as it was said previously, only those countries that are participants of this registers can change this mandate. But however, the fact that it is a General Assembly of the UN makes it much more global than just those 19 countries participants. Appealing about the compensational mechanism, like the aggression, like the invasion, it cannot serve as a reason to change a register. The way the register is working. Something much bigger has to happen to convince all those countries that are participating in this register, to convince them to change this register. So when we were talking about the number of registered violence, we already have 31,000 requests submitted to us already. Taking into the account the scale of the crimes and the quantity, the number of the victims that submitted requests, we could actually expect that something could change about the register. Also, it needs to be noted that exceedingly high numbers of requests to the register influence directly on how this register works. So, for example, if we will have hundreds of thousands of requests for compensation of damages and during war crimes that were committed on the territory of Ukraine. So our focus, we should be focused on submitting as much information, as many requests as possible, because this will affect the resolution, the decisions that will be made based on the information that will be received by the register. So, if we're talking about the national scale, we with the approach that is oriented towards the victims, we have this pilot project, Global Survivors Foundation, that are providing the compensation that could be received as fast as possible, and we think that main thing for this project is going for this project is that the victims don't have to repeat their story again and again, and as I said, tomorrow the law. The inclusion of Ukraine and the victims' requests will start being added to the register. So those changes that you are asking about, they could be advocated for further for the future, and will be taken into account when deciding if some kind of changes need to be introduced to the register. At the same time, civil society initiatives is their initiatives, and we do not dictate how it should be done or not done, and they are actually appreciated. Thank you, Mr. Dmitro. It sounds that a lot of work is awaiting for us. Yes, as Mykhailo already said, 31,000 requests were submitted, but I've read some kind of forecast that around 10 million requests will be submitted to this register. So this should cover enough number of requests to initiate changes to the register in this form that is existing today. For example, a person that was detained before 2024 or captured before 2020 and is still in captivity, for example, these are the most pressing matters, and these people will get the opportunity to finally get help and be liberated from the captivity of the aggressor. The register, as of today, does not recognize a person like this as eligible for receiving help or any kind of compensation. So, however, as it was pointed out, it's more a technical problem. Even the workers of this register are saying that these things are kind of gray zoned. How are you? Nobody. I see that Mykhailo is trying to say something, to comment something about this. Yes. If we're talking about this particular case, about the date, my recommendation right now is not to put the date into the main field where the dates are shown. Just put the dates, for now, put the dates into the body of the text of the request. And while we are working on this problem, while we those requests will be received, accepted anyway, and we will continue working on those even if the date is earlier. Miss Kateryna, do you see us right now? You see that we have a lot of discussion right now, and we understand that the process is difficult, and we understand that without coordination from the part of the government, of the population, it will be difficult to resolve those problems that we discussed today. So what do you see, how this support can be provided by the government? Thank you. Hello. Dear colleagues, thank you very much to my partners, to representatives of the civil organizations who unite those people who suffered from who are the victims of the violence from aggressor, and I can say. Without doubt, I support the initiative of the citizens, their efforts, and I should say that it concerns us in the most direct way possible also, and we are focusing, and our focus is to reach the justice, something that is every Ukrainian citizens' wish, is the justice for the Russian Federation that is committing these crimes. So let's separate our work into several components. First is a letter, and it contains the list of countries or organizations that are suspects of committing war crimes, sexual violence, and this list is presented to the General Secretary every year, and selection of information for this report is prepared during summer, and will be prepared this summer too. And what's important is that the article that we are proposing as a change to the register would be supported by the parties that are members of the register. So we are working with the Ministry of the Foreign Affairs, with other structures, on those mechanisms, which include how the letter is supposed to be passed to the General Secretary. This involves working with the coordinator of the UN body that is responsible for register of the crimes, and like I'm constantly arranging and attending the meetings during which we are working with our European partners, that we are basically lobbying these things that we are talking about today in the European Union. European Council that will have a meeting tomorrow. We have presented a book that is about crimes committed by the aggressor, by the Russian Federation on the territory of Ukraine. We also brought some attention from the diplomacy from the diplomats of European Union to this to the issues of necessity of extension of the mandate of the register. It's directly this directly concerns the questions that were raised during today's discussion, and all of this is not simple. It's all very difficult. However, we understand that there is no easy things in life, and as Mr. Mykhailo said previously, the justice takes time to take place, and we will continue working on the extension of the register to cover the crimes that were committed on the territory of Ukraine during the whole period of the conflict. And we are planning for many more different meetings with the representatives of the legal and governmental organizations pertaining to the European Council and the European Union that are involved in the operation of the register, and we constantly hear this phrase about nobody's left behind, and we are really hoping that that's what will take place. I thank you, Ms. Irina. I thank you to all our civil organizations. We have seen again and again how our country is getting a victory after victory on the diplomatic front, and so I hope that this will continue happening. Thank you everyone for coming here and speaking out. Thank you, and glory to Ukraine, glory to the heroes.